It's a pleasure to talk to you. Diane, I have to say, I'm a massive fan of this movie you did a few years ago, In the Fade. I thought you should have won the Oscar for that movie. I was really pulling for you. I thought you were incredible in that movie. I just wanted to say that. So yeah, okay. So off the top, this is, I mean, there was another Swimming with Sharks, but having watched this, I don't know if I'd call it a remake or a reboot or anything like that. It just feels like it has the same title, but it tells a very different story. So from your perspective, the power dynamic when it's been depicted in movies has always in Hollywood terms has usually almost always been male, right? This time it's showing it from a female perspective, which I think makes it very fresh and very contemporary. And if I was just wondering if both of you could just chime in a little bit on that and ask, and I wanted to know if that was something that specifically drew you to the project.
Yes, I mean, I love stories about women, and I love even more stories about women written by women. And I think that when I was, interested in doing this, the main draw was how kind of complex the whole power dynamic between the two of them was, because they also have like a deep emotional
Hmm.
connection. And that to me was so much more interesting than it just being about money or power or a certain position. It was so much more motivated by kind of their own internal worlds, which fascinated me and kind of gave it that extra kick that I
Hmm.
really love.
Like to me, what I was drawn to, I feel like it was a very current film, show really, about women in the work field in 2022, right? We've tried for so long to have it all, right? Get those jobs, work our ways up, be in positions of power. Um, and here we are. And yet, we still have to face other things like family and fertility, and it makes us uniquely different than men, right? And I thought that was really interesting. Um, I loved Lou's character because I think it is so, um, I don't know, it's so wonderful to see a young woman, wanting to work her way up, and really the detail and length of detail that she goes to impress me. I think that's very great. And I loved their relationship. And I thought that Joyce, for being such a tough boss and for being so controlling and wanting to be in control, I love that she's also so vulnerable, and so has to deal with other things than just work and being a bitch, basically.
Well, no, I mean, much more human, I think, than the one that was played in the original.
Right.
Diane, I wanted to ask you actually, there have been some amazing female studio execs. I'm thinking of Dawn Steele and Sherry Lansing, who are two of the greatest ever. And I was just wondering if you had any, if your role was inspired by anybody that maybe you might have dealt with yourself when you were working with agents and studios and stuff like that.
I mean, I think that's more a question for, Kathleen, who she based it on. To
Hmm.
be honest, for me, when I started out, there were very few women
Hmm.
around, and the ones who were tended to be incredibly tough towards me, which always kind of surprised me that another woman would be quite so tough,
Hmm.
with another woman. And then, of course, times have changed, and now, there are so many more women. I think I based my character more on men actually that I've come across with,
Interesting.
and then I based it on my own experience in Hollywood and having to deal, with the Harvey Weinsteins of this world.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of it rang so true to me, and some of the reactions you see on Joy's definitely come from experienced moments in my life.
Kiernan, this is a massive change of pace for you. And I was just wondering if you relished that, coming from Sabrina and Mad Men. I feel like this is the kind of role people are going to see you in this, and it's going to completely change their image of you. And I thought you were terrific. You're really good in this.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was so fun. Like that was part of it, is that kind of every day that I showed up, I was just so excited to do something that was different and kind of new for me and offbeat. And yeah, there was like a delicious element of uh, revealing sort of a new side to the way I work and perform, it was very appealing. And I loved the character too. Like, it was the perfect character to do that with in so many ways. And I was also, I was coming off of shooting Sabrina for 10 months, and our work schedule was extraordinarily intense. I had little to no time off, and I took one day off in between that 10-month haul and the first couple weeks of shooting this.
Oh, wow.
And it helped a lot. Like, it was actually really helpful to kind of feel so emotionally shaky and raw for those first couple weeks, because I feel like I got to figure out a lot about the role and tap into things that I wouldn't quite have been able to if I wasn't experiencing a ton of really complex thoughts and feelings in my own personal life. And it was really a kind of a treat to bring in my own personal fatigue and thought process to a character. I just felt it was really just like a 10 out of 10 experience, besides a COVID shutdown and a network shutdown.
Yeah. I imagine that would have
For me,
complicated things.
Yeah.
Something else that's really interesting that the show taps on and it touches on, and I feel like you don't see this often in Hollywood stories, but it really, you should be, that we're in the post Me Too era now, but I feel like people don't really talk about the financial exploitation of people as much. And I do like that the show kind of tackled that, because I feel like it's the last big taboo, I think, in Hollywood. Nobody really likes to talk about that. And then you can't really even enter the industry unless you're independently wealthy, and people are just worked to death almost. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that. I imagine through both of your experiences and being actors as well, that must be something that you've experienced as well, and that a lot of your contemporaries experience, that it's so hard to even support yourself while pursuing this career.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough biz. I mean, I think that's a huge part of it. When they go to Lou's apartment, when the cops show up, and my heart breaks for her, and I think you said that too, is that it's like it is glitz and glam until it isn't.
Yeah, sure.
And that's what I really like about this show, is that it's sort of an element of the industry just on display, and sort of unapologetic about how rough it can be.
And that's really never been depicted before, I don't think, in this way. Diane, did you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts are a little more conflicted about that, because I think that's obviously part, becoming an actor and being actually a working actor is not easy. But that's kind of the same as in other industries, right? So if you want to become a lawyer, you're going to be living in a small closet for a long, long time, and you have to have jobs on the side and whatever. I personally think that the real exploitation of Hollywood is it gnaws away on your dream, and it exploits your dream. And I always say, and I've had to learn that the hard way, the only thing they can't take away from you in Hollywood is your talent, and you got to just believe in that, and you got to, that noise that is Hollywood, you just got to block that out. And it takes a long time, or it did for me anyways, to come to realize that, and not get caught up. And so I think that's the real exploitation, right? Everybody thinks it's, you're this close to being Tom Cruise, and you're this, you want to hang out with the celebrities, and you want to sip cocktails in Chateau Marmont, but really it's about the work, and no one can take away that. So
do you both feel, I mean, I'm sure that at times in your careers, you've probably been pigeonholed for one reason or another. And is it difficult to sometimes, get the roles that you're definitely capable of performing? I mean, for you, Diane, I mean, as I said, I love In the Fade, but I mean, when I saw that performance, my jaw dropped, because I felt like you had never really been given the opportunity in Hollywood films to do stuff like that, because you were always portrayed as one way, whereas you were very capable, more so than to do something else. Is that something that you both had to fight for? I'm assuming it must have been for both of you.
100%. And that's, there's so many great actors who never get the opportunity to be in a film or show what they can do, and that's part of what makes our business so tough, in my opinion, because maybe you don't look a certain way, or maybe, you know, you just didn't had a bad day on that audition, you know? So it's just, that's part of the luck, I guess, that you have to make it or break it, or you make it for yourself, you know, make something.
Yeah, I think that's why we're seeing just like an increasing amount of actors optioning their own things, making their own stuff if they're in a position to do so, because it is a place where creating your own opportunities sometimes feels like the only way to do the things you want. And oftentimes I think that's just because artists have really clear visions and can see things for themselves that other people can't.
Exactly.
And there's definitely parts of that are negative, but I think there's a positive spin on knowing yourself so well, and then hoping to one day, you know, work to be in the position where you can then make the thing that you know and only you know that you can do. You know,
Well, similar to
really
Kathleen Robertson, I think. She's had a great career. You know, I've watched her for years and stuff, and now is doing the show as a creative, which is really interesting. Well, okay. One, I want to just, from what you said, do you find that streaming and the different stories and the different ways that they're being told have improved things, have made there be kind of a better variety of roles out there? I mean, I feel like in years past, this would have probably been an indie that would have ended up at Sundance or something, but now it's a great streaming show that you get, you know, 6 episodes to really dig deep, and it's going to be seen by a lot of people because it's on a service that everybody has. Do you find that that's a change that's happened for the better in Hollywood?
I think so.
Streaming's so exciting to me. I mean, I people are like, there's so much content, there's so much stuff to watch. I think that's fantastic.
It is.
It's amazing. I think it's great that really awesome art and artistic endeavors are available to a lot of people. I mean, I think at the end of the day, this stuff we do being seen is very exciting. So the fact that there are so many streamers and so many different ways to access good content is, I think that's really a good thing, like objectively good.
I know a lot of filmmakers mourn, you know, the death of movies and being seen in theaters and all that. And I get it to a certain extent. On the other hand, you know, I can remember once taking the subway in New York, and this guy was sitting on the bench and he was watching a movie I was in on his phone, you know, but it made me so happy because it's this teeny tiny movie, you know, that made $0 on the box office, but he obviously had bought it on some, I don't know what. And it just made me so happy that I felt like, oh, you know, I'm going to be part of his day, you know, and he was like into it, you know. And so, I mean, I'm sure a filmmaker's like, oh God, you know, he doesn't see the wide shot of the, you know, but as an actor, you know,
at least they're seeing it.
That's what I think.
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And great job on the show, and good luck with everything. Thank you
so much.
What you think means nothing.
What you feel means nothing.
You are nothing. You're an intern.
First day?
Is that obvious?
I'm gonna need you to, sorry. You're here in service of Joyce Holt, CEO of Fountain Pictures.
What color were these resold? Black?
The original color was
red.
Therefore, they should have been resold.
Red.
Get in here.
Careful. Proximity to greatness is intoxicating.
I just want to do something beyond dog walking and lunch orders.
He was so much more than an assistant. Our hearts go out to his family during this difficult time.
She pushed him too far. His death is on her.
Looks like somebody got a promotion.
In Hollywood, there are stories of love.
Not cheating.
All of this is mine, and I choose to share it with you.
Success.
You thought you could spend as much of my money as you wanted, but you thought wrong.
Where we live happily ever after. This, I see you, is not one of those stories.
I don't know anything about you. In fact, no one knows anything about you.
How much can you really know about anyone?
When I first moved here, as I looked into the Hollywood night, there must be thousands of girls sitting alone just like me, dreaming, but I'm not gonna worry about them. Because I'm dreaming the hardest.
Because I'm dreaming the hardest.